Not going to happen. So where are we? Well, who cares? Frankly, not a lot of folks, not as many as, this is kind of an inbred group who talk to each other and self-reinforcing, but when you get in the general public, it's pretty much an yeah. The big difference between personal interest and institutional interest. There are people in government, frankly, people in the government, that's what we're talking about, are pretty much like the people in the civilian sector, where you have probably 7 to 10% of them have actually seen UFOs. So they come with a belief system of them. I mentioned one of the guys that I talked to, a former 3-star general, who was the head of one of those 3-letter agencies, and he says, A, we don't do that, we don't have any requirement. B, I'll tell you about the ones I saw. So here's a guy who had a very senior position, had a personal experience with seeing it, and yet that does not translate to the institutional responsibility. Like I said, there's a big difference between caring about UFOs and the transition. I ding a lot of the true believers that the problem, willful ignorance, just as bad. I find many of the true believers just as intolerant as the skeptics and the debunkers. If you don't buy into every aspect of whatever their belief system is, you become the enemy. Things for the president to do, where might this fall on the partisan's list? Well, given the kinds of things they're worried about right now, and then if you get down here, probably, if it's that high on the list, I'll worry about ET. Conclusion, big issue is this is not a U.S. phenomenon. This is a global phenomenon. UFOs are seen every place in the world. Reality of hard physical craft at times appearing beyond all reasonable doubt. If UFOs or Psi was a crime, it would be convicted. There's no doubt about that. There's massive amounts of evidence, including physical evidence, that definitely supports them. Despite that, the reality is rejected by most scientists who just won't even bother to look at the data. And one of the problems you have is with the media, it's, they have the UFO story. Wonder what they were drinking. That's what they usually throw in on there. And from a government perspective, today's problems just take priority. Not a front burner issue, not going to be a front burner issue, and it's going to continue to be a challenge. What's needed? Well, first of all, I think one of the key issues, you've got to remove the stigma. And that's about, we need competent brain power, understanding the system, reframing the issues. And this is one down here. It's ones like the Malaysian air case that I mentioned. You get that kind of perception out in the public, convincing people that this is serious is a problem. The UFO community, own worst enemies. Bad news is if ET exists, didn't fall home, the rescue ship is not here. I know there are some people who think ET is going to swoop in and save us from ourselves. Not likely to happen. They didn't, they missed the call. This is the kind of paraphrasing the last paragraph in my book. It says, in the end, it is clear that the universe is far more complex than we ever imagined. We are not close to solving the enigmas posed by UFOs, whether we are at the front end of defining the fundamental issues and boundaries. And sometimes I actually do have a neuralizer. So thank you.